Hi, welcome to Yoga at the Library. We're going to do a little bit of everything today. We're going to stretch all the parts of the body, but we're also going to relax, and we're going to begin on our backs on the floor. You don't need any equipment. You don't need any blocks or blankets or walls or anything. You just need your mat and your space. So go ahead and get comfy on the floor. And we're going to start with the knees bent, just giving the spine a chance to relax and release along the floor, taking whatever little movements you need to get comfortable. Maybe taking the knees from side to side, adjusting that spine against the floor, feeling the natural curves kind of spread out and lengthen as you get horizontal. Once you find a comfortable position, just take a couple breaths. Checking in with your inhalation, feeling your belly expand, the chest and the rib cage expand. And on your exhalation, feeling that air leaving through the nostrils, the belly contracts, belly button comes in towards the spine. Just seeing how that breath feels. Might be the first time you've paid attention to your breath today. And as you lay on the floor, your spine might soften and release a little bit more, so making whatever adjustments you need to stay comfortable as your spine lengthens, as those curves relax with the help of gravity. Letting the shoulder blades be flat against the floor. The collarbones are open. Feeling nice and flat through that upper body. One more big deep breath in through the nose. And let it out through the mouth. Nice. Alrighty. Go ahead and adjust yourself, tucking the tailbone so that your low back is on the floor. You might even need to bend your knees a little bit more, even lift the knees up to get the low back on the floor. Try to keep that low back on the floor for the whole thing, the whole thing that we're about to do, this whole next little exercise. So I'm going to extend my arms down at my sides. If it helps to keep your hands to your belly to remind you to keep the low back down to the floor, go ahead and do that. You can also keep your hands to your sides. That's kind of helpful too, to remind you to tuck the tailbone, pressing that low back to the floor. So with the tailbone tucked, the whole spine on the floor, we're going to extend one leg. And on your exhale, bring it back in. Extending the other leg on the inhale. And on the exhale, bringing it back in. Check in with your low back. Make sure it's still pressing down to the floor. So we're sliding the heel, depending on your mat and your footwear and your clamminess of your feet. Sorry, it might be harder to slide your foot, so you might kind of be bouncing it like I am against your mat, extending the leg and bringing it back in. Strengthening the core, strengthening the deep core. Waking up those hip flexors. If we've been working or driving or walking today, those hip flexors need a little bit of attention. When you feel even, coming back to that bent knee position, We'll take both arms up overhead. Take both legs long and stretch from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Go ahead and bend both legs and hug the knees in. Maybe even lifting your chin up towards your knees. Rocking from side to side for a little massage through the spine. And we'll release the feet back down. Hugging in the right knee. Maybe keeping that left foot to the floor, maybe extending it out long. I'm going to make circles with the right knee. Maybe big circles, maybe little circles. Feeling out the right hip, the outer right leg. Letting your foot and ankle relax so it'll flop around as you make your circles. Switching directions. Playing with bringing your circles more across your body, more to the outside, to the right side of your body. Just noticing the sensations you feel through that hip. We'll extend the right foot straight up towards the ceiling, rolling out that ankle a couple times. One direction and then the other direction. Taking a big deep breath in, and on your exhale, lowering the leg all the way down. We'll hug the left knee in, making circles with that left knee. And you can always have that right leg bent with the foot on the floor or the right leg long. Relaxing through the foot and the ankle, letting it flop around. And playing with your circles, whether they're more across the body, big circles, little circles, or more to the outside. Switch directions. Releasing the knee, extending the left foot straight up towards the ceiling. Straight up is relative. Our legs aren't warm yet, so we're just extending them up the best we can. Drawing circles with the toes, rolling out the ankle. And switching directions. Taking a big deep breath in. And on your exhale, lowering that left leg all the way down to the floor. Extending up with the arms again, lengthening from fingertips all the way to the toes. And we'll stretch the whole right side of the body. So go ahead and take your right ankle across your left ankle. Hold on to your right wrist and crescent the body over to the left. Stretching all the way from those right fingertips all the way down to the right toes. Feeling a stretch through the IT band, the underarm, the top of the hip. Taking a big deep breath in here, feeling how the lung being full changes the sensations. And letting that breath out. And we'll switch sides, coming back to center, crossing the left ankle over the right, holding on to the right wrist, and crescenting over to the right, stretching through the left side of the body. Left underarm, left rib cage, outside of the left leg. Taking a big deep breath in, feeling the lung expand, and letting it out. Coming back to center. We'll bring the bottoms of the feet to the floor, and we're going to make our way up into a seated position. You can rock and roll, or you can come to one side and just come on up to sit. However you want to get there is just fine. Coming up to sit and finding your seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, letting the hands be wherever it's comfortable. Lengthening through the spine, feeling those natural curves. Crown of the head reaches up towards the ceiling. We'll stretch the sides. Inhaling, opening the arms out and up. And coming down to one side on the exhale. Inhaling up to center and exhaling down to the other side. Just moving with your breath, waking up the shoulders, waking up the core, the obliques. When you feel even, coming back to center. And we'll exhale, the hands come down through heart. Taking a hold of both knees. We're going to make big circles with the chest. Rounding between the shoulder blades. Pulling the heart forward. Continuing to breathe, feeling out that low back, the spine, the hip flexors, the outer hips. Go ahead and switch directions. Making your way back to center. Sitting up nice and tall. And we'll switch the ankles so the opposite ankle will come in close. Re-rooting through both sit bones, lengthening the spine. Let's take the arms out wide and all the way up, and we'll twist, taking one hand across the opposite knee. Inhaling to lengthen. And exhaling to twist a little deeper, using that knee for some leverage. Inhaling up to center. And exhaling down to the other side. Inhaling to lengthen the spine. And exhaling to twist. Inhaling up, we'll twist both ways one more time. Exhaling to twist. Inhaling to center and exhaling to twist. Lengthening the spine on the inhale and exhaling a little deeper, looking over that shoulder. We'll come back to center on the inhale. We're going to do a little modification of that twist that feels so nice. So let's come to the right side. To the left side. The right hand is going to come to the left knee. The left hand starts out on the floor. The left hand starts out on the floor. But we're going to reach it up and over. And the gaze is up towards the ceiling. So we're getting a big twist in the upper back and a big stretch through the side of the back. Continuing to breathe here, taking one more full breath. And then making your way back up and out. We'll do that same twist on the other side, taking both arms up. The left hand comes to the right knee. Right hand starts out behind you on the floor. And then we come up and over with the right hand. Stretching through the right side, maybe looking up towards the ceiling. Continuing to breathe, noticing if this side feels different than the first side. One more big full round of breath. And we'll come back to center. Alrighty, we're going to do one arm circle just for good measure. We've been here for a couple minutes. We'll take a big deep breath in with the hands at the heart. Interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms forward, exhaling. Inhaling, lifting the palms. Shoulders are dropped away from the ears. And exhaling, hands reach back. Maybe they interlace. Inhaling to lift the heart. Opening up across the collarbones. And exhaling, hands come to center. Alrighty. Now we're going to come into tabletop. Wrists right underneath the shoulders. Knees right underneath the hips. And if you want to, fold your mat over to pad those knees. That is always an option. I think I'm going to do it. Give myself about a foot of double mat cushion under those knees. So we're making a kind of rectangular shape with the body. The spine is neutral, so the gaze is down at the floor in between the fingertips. The back of the neck is long. Let's come into cat and cow. So we'll inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the chin. And exhale, tucking the tailbone, rounding up through the back and tucking the chin in towards the chest. Moving with your breath. Taking any movements forward and back, up and down, side to side that you need to. Open up that spine. Noticing where you feel a stretch. Do you feel it through your shoulders? Do you feel it through your spine, your hips, your neck? Everywhere. Making our way back to center. And then we're going to come down and lay on our bellies. Coming down to lay on the belly with the elbows right underneath the shoulders. Palms are down to the floor. And the feet are a little bit apart. Feet are a little bit apart. So we're going to come into Sphinx pose here. So we're keeping the upper body nice and active. Dragging the elbows towards you while the belly button feels like it's pulling towards the top of your mat. So the chin is lifting, but it's level with the floor. It's not really the chin that's lifting, it's the whole head. Feeling those shoulder blades pressing towards one another. The heart opening. Taking another big deep breath in here. And then we'll relax. Bringing the hands down to the floor on either side of the chest. And pressing up and back into child's pose. So we take the knees a little bit wider, the big toes together, and shift the hips back. Forehead comes down towards the floor. The tailbone rounds down towards the floor. And breathe here. Rounding that spine after the back bend. Don't worry, we get to do Sphinx pose again. We'll make our way forward, bringing the knees back underneath the hips, and then come down onto our bellies. Elbows come right underneath the shoulders, palms down to the floor with the fingers spread out, and coming back into that Sphinx pose, taking the feet a little bit wider. You can stay right here, dragging those elbows towards the belly button towards the top of the mat, getting your back bend, or you can press into the palms and lift the elbows. And maybe you just lift the elbows a couple inches. Maybe you can straighten the arms. Whatever feels good to your low back. You can always adjust the feet. You can take them even wider apart or closer together. Kind of moves the tension up and down the spine. Finding your pose here, elbows down in Sphinx pose, is totally fine. Taking a big deep breath in wherever you are, and then lowering all the way down, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, making your way gently back up and down into child's pose. Waking up that spine at the beginning of our class. There's nothing better. Alrighty, we'll make our way back up to tabletop, bringing the knees underneath the hips, palms underneath the shoulders. Gonna wake up the core a little bit. Let's go ahead and tuck the toes on both feet. We'll extend the right leg out long and tuck those toes, pressing through the right heel, opening up that hamstring. We'll do the same on the left side, extending the left leg long, tucking those toes, pressing back through the heel to open up the hamstring and the calf. Now we're going to wake up the core. I got distracted. Alrighty, right leg comes out long at hip height, and the left arm comes out long, making a big long line from the fingertips to the heel. Deep breath in here, and we exhale, bringing the elbow and the knee together. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, elbow and the knee come together. Inhaling to lengthen. One more time, elbow and knee come together. We inhale, lengthening it out, and then lowering. We'll do the same thing on the other side, extending the left leg long and the right arm. Big deep breath in to get really long from fingertips to heel. On your exhale, elbow and knee come together. Inhaling to lengthen it out. Exhaling to curl in. Inhaling, lengthening out. Exhaling, curling in. Inhaling on out. And then coming back to our tabletop. Alrighty, let's go ahead and stand up on the knees. If you have your knees padded and you want to keep them padded, that's just fine. If you want them even more padded, that is also fine. You can fold your mat over another time. Always an option. So let's see. First, we're going to step the right foot forward. So we're making kind of a square with the legs. The left toes are tucked. And if you feel wobbly, take that right foot over to the right side of the mat. That is just fine. So we're coming into a low lunge here. Hands can be to this right thigh. Hands can be to heart. Or the hands can be straight up. If your hands are straight up though, you don't want them back. You want to stack those hands straight up over the shoulders and stack the shoulders straight over the hips. So we want to be straight up and down with the torso, wherever our arms are. Big deep breath in, lifting those fingertips high. And we'll exhale. The left hand comes down to the floor. And we can keep the right hand to that right knee. Or we can reach the right hand up towards the sky. Coming into a twist. Looking up towards the right hand or towards the ceiling. If your hand is to the knee, using that knee for some leverage to twist towards the ceiling. And we'll make our way back up into our lunge. Maybe you want to challenge your balance. And we'll reach the arms back up. Exhaling, hands come down to the sides and we'll switch. So bringing the right knee back, tucking those toes on the right foot. Stepping the left foot forward. Maybe the left foot needs to come farther over to the left side of the mat, and that's just fine. We can start with the hands at heart. We can keep the hands to that left thigh, whatever we got to do to get our bearings. If you feel good, you can extend the fingertips up towards the ceiling, stacking hands, shoulders, hips, rather than arching the back here. We want to be straight up and down. We want to protect that core and protect that low back. On your next exhale, go ahead and take the right hand down to the floor. The left hand can come to that left knee and twist, or the left hand can reach up towards the ceiling. Gaze is up towards the ceiling. Right hand, right arm is really strong. Taking another big deep breath in wherever you are. And then we'll come back up into our lunge. Arms extend up. Go ahead and release. Arms on down. And we'll come back to the hands and the knees. If your mat is rolled underneath your knees, go ahead and unroll it. Because we're about to come up, we're about to need our whole mat on the way up. Go ahead and tuck those toes. Plant the palms down really strongly into the floor. And we'll lift the knees and the hips on up for downward facing dog. And this is our first one, so we're being gentle with those shoulders. We're keeping the face more over the forearms, more over the wrists. Alternating, pressing one heel and then the other down towards the floor. Taking a big bend in both knees and walking on up to the top of the mat to your forward fold. Hands do not need to make it all the way down to the floor. They're just hanging towards the floor. The spine is round. The back of the neck is released. The head is heavy. Little bend in both knees, protecting those hamstrings as we stretch them. Letting them stretch safely. Not forcing anything. Shaking your head, no. Nodding your head, yes. Relaxing that neck. Maybe swinging the arms from side to side, swinging the torso from side to side. Get your elephant pose on. We'll bend both knees pretty deeply and roll all the way up to standing. Head comes up last. Take your time. Noticing how it feels to be upright again after you've been on the floor for a while, half an hour or so. Shaking out those legs. Alrighty, we're going to do a couple things on our feet, maybe a little bit more on our feet than we usually do. So we want to make sure that our feet are in good alignment. I almost said right, that's not what I meant, in good alignment for our bodies. So we want to have our feet about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider than hip width apart, and parallel. We want our kneecaps pointing in the same direction our feet are pointing. So we might need to activate the upper legs to point those kneecaps in a good direction. The hips are stacked right over the knees, shoulders are stacked right over the hips, and the rib cage is straight up and down. Fingertips can extend down towards the floor. Neck is long, chin is level with the floor, coming into our Tadasana. Mountain pose. Nothing can knock us down. From here, we're going to move, doing some sun breaths. So we're going to bring the hands into the heart. The legs and the feet stay right where they are. We'll inhale, taking the arms out wide and all the way up. Exhaling, folding forward and bow. Little bend in the knees. Nothing changes with the feet. Inhaling to lengthen the spine, flattening the spine. And exhale to fold on down. Inhaling, coming out and all the way up. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. That was one. Inhaling, arms out and up. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling, coming all the way out and up. And exhaling, hands into center. Inhaling, arms out and up. Exhaling, forward, folding. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, folding. And inhaling to come out and up. Exhaling, hands into the heart. And we'll stay here with the hands into the heart, standing strong into those legs and feet. Noticing your breath, probably picked up a little bit. Noticing the tingling in the legs, the warmth. The shoulders are warm. Waking up your whole body. Those sun breaths are a great way to do that. Alrighty, we're going to come into tree pose. So standing strong onto the right foot, making a little kickstand with the left heel against the ankle. Hands can stay to the heart, and this can be our tree pose. This is a perfectly good tree pose, balancing on the right foot. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, you can take that left foot up the inner leg, pressing the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot. Continuing to breathe, even though you're balancing, taking the arms into whatever arm variation you like. Maybe just straight up, maybe straight out, somewhere in between. Waving in the wind is always okay when you're a tree. Taking a big deep breath in wherever you are, and on your exhale, releasing it out. Standing strong onto the left leg, making your kickstand, bringing the hands into the heart. Staying right here, or moving that foot up the inner leg, finding your tree. And this side might be totally different than the first side, and that is just fine. Taking your arm variation, waving in the wind. Keeping the arms straight or bending the elbows, whatever feels good to you. Deep breath in wherever you are, and exhaling to come out. I was feeling some breezes on that second one. Alrighty. We'll do a couple more things while we stand. So we want to make sure that we get our feet and our legs back into that good alignment. We want to have our feet parallel, kneecaps pointing straight forward. We're going to do a little bit of a shoulder opener here while we're standing. So what we're going to do, our base position is pinkies together at the low back. And low back might mean more like your booty. You want to have your pinkies together wherever you can get those pinkies together. And then we're pressing the elbows towards one another. When you press your elbows towards one another, you'll feel a big stretch through those outer shoulders and an opening across the collarbones. So we've got our pinkies together, we're pressing the elbows together, our feet are parallel, we've got a lot going on. We're lifting the heart. This is our standing camel pose. From here, we're going to do a little backstroke motion with the right arm and then bringing it back into our base position. And the left arm, bringing it back into our base position. Breathing here, taking an inhale on each stroke, if you will. Opening up those shoulders. When you feel even, go ahead and release the hands, shake them out. We'll take the arms out to the sides, and on our exhale, hug it in, maybe a little bend in the knees. Inhaling, the arms come out. Exhaling to hug it in, even rounding the spine, rounding the chin towards the chest. Inhaling, opening it up. Exhaling, give yourself a hug. Arms come out on the inhale. Arms come up. And let's exhale, folding forward. Letting the arms hang, letting the head hang. Little bend in both knees. Again, swinging from side to side with the arms, the torso. Letting the head hang. Alrighty, we're going to make our way down to the floor. However you would like, you can walk your hands forward, you can just come down and sit. Do a couple things seated before we make our way all the way back down to the floor. So here we can sit with ankles crossed. If ankles crossed does not work for you, you can sit with the bottoms of the feet together. You can sit up on a pillow or a folded blanket, or you can even sit up on a chair if you want to, if you have enough room to take your arms out. So make sure it's not like a lazy boy, with arms. So we're sitting up wherever we're sitting up, however we're sitting up. We're going to open up, let's see, we just opened up the outsides of the arms. Now we're going to open up the insides of the arms, doing cow face arms. So we'll take the arms out again, patting ourselves on the back with the right hand and taking the back of the left hand to the spine. Sitting up as tall as we can here. The chin is level with the floor. So we're not rounding forward to try to make room for that arm. We want to keep the neck neutral. And then we'll switch. Arms come out. We pat ourselves on the back with the left hand, and the back of the right hand comes to the spine. And we'll switch, inhaling out and exhaling into your pose. Inhaling out and exhaling into your pose, noticing the creaking, the popping, the cracking that's happening in your arms and shoulders. Noticing whether your chin is still level with the floor or if you're rounding forward to make room for your hands. Just noticing, trying to stay as upright as you can. When you feel even, taking the arms out to the sides, big deep breath in, and exhale, release. Wherever your legs have been, let's go ahead and take them out long. So if you got up on a prop, you might want to take it back down to the floor here. Legs are out in a V. We'll have the hands to the floor in front of us. And this is a pose, if this is a huge stretch for you, that's fine. You can even back up against a wall or a couch and have your back straight against the wall, and this is your stretch, and that is just fine. So if you need to do that, go ahead and scoot back to a wall and have your stretch right there. If you're feeling like you might be able to go an inch or so forward, let's sit up nice and tall, flexing the feet. Fingertips to the floor, walking forward maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. Big deep breath in with a straight spine and active legs. And then on our exhale, we relax the legs and relax the spine and fold on down. Just like in our forward fold, we're letting the spine be soft, letting the head be heavy. The legs are soft. And you might want to adjust the space between your legs. You might want to adjust your hands as you kind of settle into this pose. In Yin Yoga, this is called Dragonfly Pose. We're just breathing regularly here, letting our muscles get used to the idea of stretching in this passive way. We're relaxed here. We'll make our way back up on an inhale. And here we're going to take both hands to either side of the right leg. Activating the legs, flexing both feet, lengthening through the spine. Walking those fingertips forward maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. Big deep breath in with a straight spine. And then we'll exhale, relaxing the legs, folding down over that right leg. And maybe folding down over that right leg feels like you're just looking at your right knee. And that's just fine because you feel a stretch in your back, in the left side of your back, and in your hamstring. That's where we want to feel a stretch here. So whatever it looks like for you, as long as it feels like a stretch through that right hamstring, the left side of your back, you are golden. This is your yoga practice. Some people can put their foreheads on their knees. Some people are getting a stretch when they're completely upright. And then there's everything in between. And that is the beauty of yoga. We'll make our way on up. Coming back to center. Activating those legs, flexing the feet, pointing those toes up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the spine, and coming with both hands to either side of the left leg. Walking those fingertips forward a couple inches as far as you can go with a straight spine. Deep breath in there. And then exhaling, relaxing the legs and folding over the left leg. Folding is relative. Coming into your pose. Noticing whether the right side of your back is a little bit tighter than the left side.
or if this side feels more open or just different or even the same, that's an option too. Making our way back up to center.
Alrighty. Go ahead and bend your knees, bringing the legs towards one another. Let's take the hands to the floor behind you, taking the knees from side to side here. Alrighty, and we're going to come into, we're going to come down onto our mats, onto our backs. Knees are bent, bottoms of the feet are to the floor. Just noticing how your spine feels. We've done a lot with the spine today, a lot stretching the back, a lot of back bends. So noticing how it feels to go horizontal again, like we started class. Maybe take a couple of those heel slides, that's what those are called, sliding one heel and then the other away from you and back. Noticing whether it's a little bit easier now to press that low back into the mat. Just maybe. We'll come into a figure 4 hip stretch. So we'll take the left ankle across the right knee. Maybe this is your stretch here, and that is just fine. Maybe pressing that left knee away from you intensifies the stretch, makes it just right for you. Maybe you want to hold on behind that right thigh, bringing the foot and the ankle closer to the face. Finding your pose here. You might even be able to reach around and hold on to the shin on that right side. Finding your pose. And if your left knee feels precarious here, if it doesn't feel safe, you can always flex through your left ankle and activate that whole leg, and that protects that knee joint. Breathing wherever you have found a stretch. Sending awareness into that left hip. Letting it open up. And we'll release this side, sending the right leg back down to the floor and uncrossing the left. Taking it on the other side, the right ankle comes across the left knee. Maybe just pressing away from you with that right knee feels good. Maybe holding on behind the left thigh or to the front of the left shin. Finding your pose. And again, activating the leg by flexing the right foot if your knee feels a little weird here. we'll take the left foot back down to the floor, uncrossing the right. Take a big stretch all the way from fingertips down to the toes. Maybe feeling a little bit longer. And we'll do one more yin yoga stretch. Actually, never mind. We'll just do a twist. So let's go ahead and bend the knees and take the arms out wide to the sides. Pressing the feet into the floor to lift the hips up just a tiny bit and shift them a little bit over to the left so that we just set our right hip right where our tailbone was. So just a couple inches over to the left. And then we'll drop our knees down to the right. So that little shift lets our spine be in better alignment when we twist. And if you feel like you could find even better alignment, please adjust so that your spine feels like it's getting a good healthy twist. The weight of the legs and the weight of that left arm are counterbalancing each other. We're not worrying about pressing into the floor with the shoulder or pressing into the floor with the knees. We're just letting gravity kind of work on us here. Maybe looking over the left fingertips to bring the twist all the way up through the neck. And for even more of a stretch, you can extend the left leg long. If you're feeling fancy today, like you want an IT band outer left leg stretch, feel free. We'll make our way back to center, bending the knees in and bringing them back up, recentering the hips, recentering the shoulders, whatever shifted. Now we'll press into the floor with the feet, shifting the hips over a couple inches to the right. Knees come down to the left. Finding a comfortable position with your spine, maybe looking over the right fingertips. Letting gravity work on you in this twist, not pressing anything down to the floor that isn't being pressed down to the floor by gravity. Maybe extending that right leg long just for a little extra of that gravity. We'll bring those knees back up to center, realigning the hips and the spine on the mat. If you need to take any final movements before you settle into your final relaxation pose, go ahead. Maybe swinging those knees from side to side, maybe stretching the feet up towards the ceiling or taking the legs out wide, whatever feels good to you. And we'll come into our final pose. So that might be knees bent, bottoms of the feet to the floor. Letting the feet be wide and the knees fall towards one another is a nice way to get a release through the spine and not have to hold your knees up in space. If it feels good to let your legs be out long, that is always an option. If you're feeling fancy, you can bring your legs up a wall, finding your final pose. Arms wherever it's comfortable. Feeling pretty symmetrical from right to left. Relaxing through your feet, feeling the heaviness of your feet against the floor. The toes are soft. The ankles are relaxed. The calves are soft and wide and heavy. The kneecaps are relaxed. all the important work those knees do for us throughout the day. Giving those knees a break from all that. The thighs are soft against the floor or in space. The hips and the pelvis are heavy. The spine following its natural curves all the way up, where it's heavy into the floor and where it's lighter. The belly is soft. The chest is open. The heart is open. The shoulder blades are flat against the floor, so the collarbones are wide. The arms are soft. The fingers naturally curling in. Letting the head be heavy into the floor. The face is smooth. Just breathing here for a minute or two, not dwelling for too long on any thought that might arise. Beginning to deepen your breath and taking little movements with the fingers and the toes, rolling out the wrists and the ankles, bending the knees and rolling to one side. And when you're ready, coming on up into a seated position. Bringing the hands together, heart center, sitting up nice and tall, hopefully feeling some space through the hips and the spine and the shoulders. We'll take our 3 deep breaths to close. Taking a big deep breath in for the world. Exhaling, hands into the heart. Big deep breath in for our community. Exhaling, hands into the heart. And a big deep breath in for ourselves. Hands coming into the heart. Thank you so much. Namaste.